All right, everybody, welcome into the Rocky Top Insider postgame show. This is Ryan Shumpert. I am Rick Butler, back here in Knoxville for the first time in 2024. Tennessee opens up the SEC schedule on a right note. In fact, they made a statement to the SEC with a 90-64 win over number 22 Ole Miss, gave them their first loss of the season. But, Ryan, this was a dominant game for Tennessee. Just what did you think of overall standpoint so far?
I mean, that's what you said. It was a dominant performance. They really opened up the game right around halftime. Went on a run in the first half, continued it early in the second half, and I think the story of the game, there's a lot of players that played well for Tennessee, which is typically the case when you beat a top 25 team by whatever it was, 26 points. But Zakai Ziegler and Jonas Adu were both absolutely fantastic. I thought they were the stars of the night, and double-doubles from each of them, and really dominant performances, and they really teamed up a lot. Tennessee went to the pick and roll more than they typically do tonight, and it was certainly extremely effective.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to mention that as well, but Jonas Adu goes for 24 points and 10 rebounds. Zakai Ziegler, on the other hand, goes for 17 and 10 assists. Those are your top two scorers on the night. Really impressive game by both of them, especially like what you were talking about, really in the second half. I've thought that it was a nice little slugfest between both teams in the first half. Yeah. Tennessee goes on a big run. Ole Miss counters with a big run of their own. But when you get to the second half, Tennessee's stars came out to play. They played well. Tennessee's three ball was working a little bit better at the beginning of the second half. I thought that's when Tennessee really came out. They put their foot to the ground and rode that momentum all the way down to the final zeros.
No doubt, and you know, those two things kind of go together. I think Tennessee started the game 1 of 12, 1 of 13 from three. Yeah. During that time, Jonas Adu was big offensively. I think he had 10 points during that stretch, and you know, even though Tennessee wasn't playing great, they always had the lead, and I don't think for the most of it, it was over 4 to 10 points. It was a pretty comfortable lead, and Adu was a big part of that. And then that's how they finished the first half. They hit 4 threes in the last maybe 3.5 minutes. They hit 3 threes in the last minute 40. They hit 2 threes, both from Jermaine Meshack on the last 2 possessions of the first half. So they kind of got the three-pointers going there. Rick Barnes talked about it a lot after the game, that he was really happy that the shots that they missed were good shots early in the game, and that they didn't get trigger shy or any. I guess that phrase works. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But they remained confident. Yeah, they remained confident, and they kept on shooting. And the shots ended up going down, and Tennessee rolled it. That's a good stat that Grant Ramey told me after the game. Last year, Tennessee scored 80-plus points 9 times, and what I guess amounted to like 36 games. Tonight was game number 14 in the season. They scored 80-plus now 8 times. And obviously, the shooting confidence was a big part of that tonight.
Shooting confidence, a big part of that. Rick Barnes talked after the game about how he was really pleased with the fact that his team didn't lose confidence. After starting out 1 of 12, 1 of 13, whatever it was, his team did not lose that confidence, kept shooting. And one of those things that led to also was the offensive rebounding category. Tennessee just destroyed Ole Miss on the offensive rebounding category, 19-4, so a plus 15 difference in Tennessee's favor. That led to 22 second chance points, as opposed to Ole Miss's 5 second chance points. And I think that again just kind of speaks to the physicality that Tennessee was able to play with, the focus that Tennessee was able to play with. Even when some shots were missing throughout the game, they were still able to really be tough there on the offensive glass. They were able to find the ball when it was in the air. A couple of those did come in a big run in one possession.
4 of them in one possession,
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible moment. I think I was tweeting that out as that was going on, so that was a little bit of a challenging moment. But nonetheless, Tennessee's second chance points was a big difference maker in this game as well, especially in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that. And, it's against a Ole Miss front line. They didn't really play them together too much, but, the 2 centers on this team are 7'5", maybe 7'4", and 7 foot. So massive dudes for Ole Miss down low. And Adu was good. Tobe Awaka didn't put up massive rebounding numbers, but his physicality was good. And then Josiah Jordan-James, who continues to be a massive piece of the puzzle why Tennessee's been able to rebound well despite playing 4 guards on the court for big portions of the vast majority basically every game. So that was a huge part of it, and certainly you mentioned it in the second half when Tennessee, in the game's final minutes, Tennessee just imposed their will there. And you talk about a dominant kind of statement sending win. That was a really great way to cap that off.
Yeah, it certainly was. I know you mentioned this at the top of the show already, but this is something that you've been writing about a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Just Zakai Ziegler's emergence back from that injury, what he's been able to do in these last couple of games. It's been remarkable. I don't have the exact stat in front of me. Maybe you remember it. Something like he's now got the most at number 6. He's got the most point, assist, triple doubles in Tennessee history.
That's the stat. I don't know if it's 6 or 7. It's one of those two.
I think it was 6, but we'll find out. Either way, he's at the top of the list now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's something that, most of those, He didn't have a single one his freshman year, and I don't think he had a single one until SEC play last year. And you talk about a guy that I guess played in – he got hurt in the very opening minutes of his 17th SEC game last year. He didn't have a single one this year until tonight. So only 17 SEC games, or his last 17 SEC games, are the times he's recorded those 6 double-doubles. So he keeps on playing better and better. He was fantastic tonight. Another guy that, Rick Barnes talked about keeping that confidence. He missed his first 4 threes. He went on to hit 3 or 4 of them. He scored 17 points, dished out 10 assists, grabbed 5 rebounds, turned it over only twice. He's been really, really good since they got back from Maui. And as he continues to play this way, Tennessee's offense just becomes better and better and more dangerous, because we know what he's going to bring night in and night out on the defensive side of the defense end of the court.
Last guy I want to talk about myself is Jemai Mashak. I thought he had a really nice role in today's game. Not necessarily known as an offensive juggernaut by any standards, but he was able to make some huge plays when Tennessee needed it the most. Finished with double-digit point total at 10 on the night, but it was really kind of that sequence where he knocks down a three-pointer right there at the end of the first half. He knocks down another one as the buzzer's going off to send Tennessee to a 9-point lead, when really in that final 2-minute stretch, it was going both ways. It could have been a Tennessee goes into the half up 3, or they could have been up 12, but he puts them on the right side of things. They go up in a halftime at 9 points on Ole Miss. What did you think of just his performance tonight, and then what Rick Barnes said about him afterwards?
Yeah, another quiet night for Dalton Connect. So Jemai Mashak got more minutes, and he took advantage of him. He played really well. And obviously, you point to the 2 shots. Those were both big shots. I guess it was, I want to say Tennessee was up by like 4 when he hit the first one with 25 seconds left in the first half. They end up going into the locker room up 9 after I think Ole Miss went 1 or 2 at the free throw line down on the other end. So, he's more and more comfortable in that shot. He's shooting not on a ton of attempts, but he's shooting right around 40%, I think just under it from 3 this season. So, he's been really good. He's becoming more comfortable, I think, on the offensive end. And obviously just all that complements what he does on the defensive end, which is so important. And I guess another thing that maybe flies on the radar, I think he had 4 assists tonight too. So he was moving the ball well, not pressing on the offensive end, and certainly a strong night for him. Yeah,
4 assists, 4 rebounds to go along with 10 points. That was the night for Jemai Mashak. Ryan, any other kind of final takeaways from tonight? Again, Tennessee defeats Ole Miss, gives the Rebels their first loss of the season, 26-point victory for Rick Barnes' team.
Yeah, really good game for Tennessee. I feel like kind of felt this way going in, but even after the first day of SEC play, to me it feels like the top of the conference is Tennessee, Kentucky, Auburn. Some order. I think that's going to be the heart of the SEC championship race. And the Vols head on the road for 2 big ones next week, especially in Starkville on Wednesday, when they'll face a really solid Mississippi State team.
No doubt about it. That, again, is Tennessee's win over Ole Miss here today. It was number 5 Tennessee over number 22 Ole Miss by a score of 90-64 right here in Knoxville. What is next up on the schedule for the Vols?
Mississippi State on Wednesday, Georgia on Saturday, come back home for Florida and Alabama the next week. So 4 big games coming up. Obviously, Georgia's definitely the worst team in that bunch, but get them on the road. And let me tell you, Stegman Coliseum is not a place Tennessee's played very well the last decade.
Yeah.
So, rarely easy ones for Tennessee there.
Tell you what, Tennessee football finishes the Citrus Bowl. They knock out the whole football season just less than a week ago. Now January basketball is here, SEC basketball. It's a fun time to be around the program right now. We'll see how Tennessee shakes out in the month of January, but certainly a great start here tonight with a win over Chris Beard's Ole Miss Rebels by a score of 90-64. This is Ryan Shumpert. I'm Rick Butler. Thanks so much for listening to the RTI postgame show. We'll see you back for the next one.